Hey, welcome guys back to channel. Maverick here with another episode of Wave Listen to Me. I just might actually make it this week and catch up to the current episode, so fingers crossed for that. Before we begin though, I have a confession to make. Last episode, I did a huge blunder when I accidentally calculate the wrong currency exchange between US dollars and Japanese yen, which should be somewhere like 100 to 1 instead of 1,000 to 1. 1,000 to 1 is actually Korean won and not Japanese yen. So, big shout out to Anish Pandit, my longtime viewer, for actually catching this huge error, and to be honest, I am totally embarrassed. But, well, I guess that just means I need a little bit more sleep, right? So, anyways, beyond that, well, let's just get into the episode, shall we? So last episode, we are literally at the crossroads where Minare is finally going to start her first episode of her radio show, and I can't wait to get that. We still got a ton of drama surrounding her as well, with all these other characters and all this potential romance, I guess you could say. But for now, let's get to the main story. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Seriously though, I'm still facepalming at my error there. Like, holy shit. That's beside the point now. Alright, Minare. Hmm? Cake? Oh, the same cake? Okay. At least she remembered, right? Considering Minare, I totally would have, Oh no, actually at the end of last episode, she did mention that, that she wanted to celebrate birthday for Mizuho. I love that little context there. She whined about it, so she was actually given 10 minutes to celebrate. I think this is pretty common, though, in their line of work, due to the odd hours and whatnot. Especially since Mizuho should still be at the age where she likes to celebrate birthdays. I seriously don't anymore. I know it might seem like a bit of a downer, but to me, birthdays nowadays is just accepting the fact that I'm 1 year older. And once, like me, once you're already past 30, you really don't want to face that anymore. I guess if there's some of my viewers here who are actually in their 40s or 50s, maybe there are, you might think that this is kind of, kind of cute, if you will. But, eh. It's nice that Mizuho actually has coworkers that care about her, though. True. I was saying last episode, Mono probably wants her to wing it. There's nothing! The Saka-san. Oh. That's a nice reference here. Yeah, I heard about this. Why after 2 minutes though? Wouldn't it? Ah. Okay, okay. Because if they literally did it at 3:30, then it would be obvious. What? Well, that's true. It's just purely his own bet. That's nice. Don't be like that. Yeah, don't be like that. The beautiful if she shuts her mouth kind of woman. Really? Maybe she's not nervous. I'm nervous for her. Wait, is this reality or is this what? She's a pretty good actor, I gotta say. Hmm. How is she such a natural at this? Like, it's complete nonsense, but she's keeping the airtime. Seriously, she is a genius if she's able to do this ad lib. Wait, is this actually really happening? I thought this was like. Wow. This is actually real, isn't it? This is Mitsuho, and that's the girl he left her for. What? Oh my god. How many layers does this actually go down to? And she's completely saying the what this girl's thinking, right? What? Now she's being adopted by. Oh. No, seriously though, I don't even think just being a radio host is enough to express like her talent here. She should seriously just be a seiyuu. Read radio dramas or something. What? Wow. And even a callback? Wow. And even having the sense to know that, you know, she needs to wrap this up. Wow. Wow. That was genius. This is seriously genius we're talking about here. Oh, what's this? Don't tell me like this is the second episode. Comments? Oh. Yeah, it's got people's attention. Ooh, nice. Oh.
あら、仲のいいこと。
ししろちゃん、よかったらこれ聞いてみてよ。
あら、何？
小田みなれの番組の第1回放送。
ああ、あのカレー屋の女の子。あ、カレー屋はクビになったんだっけ？
首は皮一枚で繋がったけど、アパート追い出されたみたいで、今難波の部屋に居候してるよ。
へえ。昨日、何時からやってたの？
朝の3時半。
知りたいとはいえ、その時間からよくスポンサー見つけたわね。
知りたいってのはラジオ局の
C block, yeah.
安くなる深夜から早朝の時間帯だ。いや、結局ノースポンサーでやらせてもらってる。
ああ、そうなの。マトさん、ひょっとしてこの子をバレンタインラジオに出すつもり？
まさか、昨日まで素人だった女だよ。
そうよね。
Hmm.
ラジオで20分喋ったからといって、生活の何
I think she seriously feels some competition.
今日くらいみずほと2人だけでゆったりのんびりしたかったぜ。でも休日ずれてんだよな。くそ。朝4時までラジオやって10時からカレー屋はきついわ。
Oh, she needs to get in at 10 a.m.? Damn.
ドリンクの注文があれば。
ほら、この声だよ。昨日の深夜、ラジオやってませんでした？
はい。
いやね、昨日、このメンツで鉄マンやってたんだけど、夜3時過ぎだったかな。ラジオつけっぱなしにしてたら、音楽番組の途中に突然、なんか女の声で、今人を殺してきた、みたいな、番組表にもないし、これやべえってみんなで。
Wow, she's got fans already.
俺がよく行くカレー屋の店員さんの声に似てるって。
てか、こいつ店員さんのこと好きなんすよ。
ちょ、てめえ、ふざけんな。
ああ、実は。
マジっすか？お、かっけえ。
今のやりとり、宝田さんが聞いたらブチギレ。
Yeah, I bet.
でもなんか、自分が今まで興味なかったから、あんま実感湧かなかったけど、いるもんだな、結構。
ひどい。
ミナレさん、例のラジオ始まってたんですか？教えてくれたらよかったのに。
別に黙ってたわけじゃないんだけど、すっごい急な話だったから。てかね、あんた散々虚業言ってたくせに。
はい、もう言いましたけど、本音をいや聞きたいですよ。決まってんじゃないですか。
ふーん。ゆうべオンエア直前にさ、あんたに電話聞いてる時間
Here's the drama part.
どういった意味ですか？
あまりにもわかりやすい同様。
Guilty.
つまりこういうことだよ。私はカレーを捨てラジオ一本で行く。明日には違うことを言ってるかもしれないが、道内一のラジオ幸運が下がろうが知ったことか。
ミナレさん、どこへ？
Walking out. Oh, damn. Oh my god. Alright, that was an awesome episode. See you guys after this. This episode, man, this episode was absolutely amazing. And Minare is amazing, right? I gave her a lot of shit before because of her personal life and whatnot. I don't feel like she's actually got her life straight and so on and so forth, but absolutely she's an absolute genius in terms of talking, in terms of being on the radio. So let's break this down a little bit, right? Because I'm really excited about this one. So, honestly, I would say that this is not what she did today, what she did in this episode, isn't particularly anything related with traditional radio hosts. In fact, I would even say it's more related with being a seiyuu. So the little story that she did on air, you can call it a radio drama, which is what the patrons to your restaurant called it. Really, it's the skills required for it is a little bit different from being a traditional radio host, right? You're supposed to be calm, you're supposed to be collected. Basically all the things that Mato already mentioned, right? You select good music, you listen to the listeners, you give a response to them, and of course you always have your very calm and soothing voice and all that. Whereas Whereas for a radio drama, it's literally like a seiyuu. It's like dubbing an anime, right? You're supposed to put your emotions into it. You need to maintain the tone and inflection of your voice. You know, when you get excited, your voice needs to get excited as well. And when you get sad, your voice gets sad. When you're going crazy, your voice sounds crazy, right? This is actually something much more suited to be a seiyuu. So honestly, if Minare, this radio gig doesn't really work out too well for her, I mean, she could easily also go into the seiyuu industry as well, and she'd probably have a career there, right? She could make some drama CDs or whatnot, or heck, just dub anime or games, right? Now, obviously, I'm kind of joking here because that's not so easy an industry to get into, but you know, I can totally see it happening. I don't think it's. I'm actually not quite sure if that actually has happened in Japan in real life as well. There's many cases of actors eventually getting into voice acting, as well as some idols as well, though that's another story. But you know, actors, a lot of actors do eventually take on a voice acting role as well. There's lots of examples of this, which makes sense because voice acting is, you know, literally the word acting is in the title, right? So the skills are pretty transferable. In this, I don't generally I don't have any examples of a radio host turning into a seiyuu. But then again, like I said, this is not your traditional sort of radio host, right? The skills that she's exhibiting here is very different. It's kind of meta, actually, if you think about it, because this is literally a seiyuu, you know, a seiyuu, a voice actor, a voice actress in the back, voice acting this Minare character who's actually playing out and voice acting a radio drama, right? So you got layers upon layers on layers about it. It's very, very meta. I love it. But yeah, and honestly, I feel like the seiyuu, the voice actress did a fantastic job in this episode as well. I know that she's actually not that well recognized. I think she's not quite a newcomer anymore, not quite a rookie. But she hasn't the seiyuu for this anime for Minare isn't particularly popular. She hasn't really hit it big yet. I have a feeling that this one might just be her jumping stone, her jumping block into greater heights. So really fantastic. So yeah, so that's the first big quality that Minare displayed in this episode. The second one is something that I already mentioned before, I think back in episode 1 or episode 2, and that is she, by herself, is able to talk about interesting stuff to keep to keep listeners entertained, right? So yeah, sure, she had a general outline of what to do and what to say from the writer, especially for the initial parts, you know, where you're supposed to have a crazy laugh, where you're supposed to pant, and the general flow of the story that was given to her, but the rest was completely ad-lib, like the little anecdotes or stories from her personal life. That's either something that she had in her life or something that she made up in the spot, and I think it's most probably something a little bit of both, right? It's maybe something from her own experience, and then you add a little bit into it, you add a little bit of spiciness into it, make it more exaggerated, and then make it much more interesting, right? And then of course the delivery is very important as well, and that goes back with the sort of fundamentals of how you control your voice, right? And I already mentioned this before, it's so hard to talk without interruptions, even for someone like me who's literally doing a review of this anime, and where I can already somewhat put down my bullet points, somewhat put down what things I need to say. Even then, you know, there's always some sort of interruption in the middle, the ums, the ahs, and it's just really hard to make a complete dialogue with no interruptions at all, and that is something that Minare actually did. So that is very genius as well. I guess in a sense, talking to yourself is a little bit easier than actually talking to an audience, right? In this case, the way that you guys can also try it as well. If you're trying to talk to yourself, for instance, if you're arguing with yourself, it's actually a little bit easier than trying to talk with the expectation that an audience is going to hear it. But still, even then, that is very, very hard. And to be able to hold basically a conversation like that for 20 whole minutes, wow. Like, I know this is fictional, but I just want to point out like how crazy this is. Well, I can't really say crazy, but it's definitely something that's not that's very, very hard to do, and very few people can do it. Now, the reason why I don't say that it's completely crazy and totally genius and completely unrealistic is because there actually is some sort of context where I've seen people do things similar to this, and this is the interesting part here, because throughout this entire series, Mato has been bringing up this comedian that he really admires, right, and then sort of comparing Minare to this comedian. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but that's actually what I felt from this episode as well, because the only two professions that I know that can do something similar to this, right, ad-libbing and holding this sort of dialogue without interruption, without tripping over yourself, and keeping it interesting and entertaining as well, two professions. One, stand-up comedians, which ties in directly with Mato was saying. I've seen, you guys can search on YouTube as well, some stand-up comedy acts. Some of the best ones I've seen are ones where, a lot of stand-up comedy is actually prepared, right? They have their normal routine, they go through their normal routine. But to really get a sense of how genius some of these stand-up comedians are, you need to look at ones where they get heckled, right? Like they get, they have interactions with the crowd. The crowd might, some in the audience, maybe a little bit more drunk or maybe a little bit more obnoxious. They might challenge the comedian with something, and then they'll have some back and forth dialogue, and then the comedian will actually play off that, right? The best ones actually play off that sort of development in the situation, and add some unique twist or spin into their act, right? And indeed, at the very end of it, they normally try to do like the best ones always do some sort of callback to what they were initially talking about, so bringing it full circle as well. Those are the best ones. And beyond stand-up comedians, the other type of profession that I know can also do something similar to this is actually freestyle rapping. And again, you can look up on YouTube. There are some very prominent examples as well. One of the most craziest ones I've seen before was, it's actually a similar setting to a stand-up act. Basically, it was I forgot who it was, but it was basically a freestyle rapper, and then basically just going around into the audience, like, what do you want me to rap about? What do you want me to rap about? What do you want me to rap about? And then they just throw all the different things at him, and I think he gathered like 6 or 8 different topics, and then he proceeded to rap. Not only on the topics and hitting each of the topics, but actually rap as well, as in rhyming and all that. So it's not unprecedented. There are definitely people out there who can do this sort of thing in a similar style, but it's very, very hard. And I just want to also point out that not only did Minare manage to make the story interesting and fun for the listeners as well, she also, like Mato said, she put punchlines in there, and that's really, really fantastic. So if you guys remember, she started the story talking about me. Who's that guy called again? Mitsuho, right? Not Mizuho. Mitsuho, right? Like not Mizuho, Mitsuho, right? Her former boyfriend. So throughout when she was listing off the good points or the charm points of her ex, she mentioned how he really likes to say, "I'm getting hungry," in a cute way, and that's how she always melted and thought, "Oh, okay, this is so cute. I can't really stay angry at him," right? And then the end of the story, like right before her airtime was over, she managed to bring it full circle as well, having a conversation with this clone of Mitsuho, and with the Mitsuho saying that he's getting hungry, right? So a full callback there as well. That's very, very genius. I love it when these sort of ad-lib scripts are able to do this kind of thing. But yeah, so basically, Minare super duper impressed me with this episode, and in fact, standing out from it a little bit, right? I think what I'm trying to express here is my admiration for this series as a whole, in formulating this kind of story in this kind of format with this kind of humor put into it. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and that's only on Minare's character, right? That's only on the show. We're not even talking about the fact that this entire thing actually has a link with the real world as well. Right, where we see Mitsuho with his current fling. I totally thought it was a situation similar to episode 1, where Minare was getting chased by the bear, and then it turned out to be just basically a setting for the situation anyways. Here though, so that was what I was thinking here as well. Like, is she just basically putting herself into this situation, trying to get herself in an act or something? But apparently it's something that's actually happening in real life within the anime, basically, at the same time. So that just adds another layer of meta into it, and I mean, I just absolutely love it. Like, how many layers deep are we actually going to make this story, right? So, man, I have no words. It's great. It's hilarious. And what other things happened within this episode? I guess we also got Nakahara and Tachibana, basically confirmed. Yeah, they're having a little bit of an affair with each other, and Minare is basically like, okay, I'm out, right? I'm going to pursue now my new dream of becoming a DJ. I'm not coming back unless I get fired or I fail, and then I might come back, right? Because Minare is still Minare in the end. But yeah, not much else to add there. So, I liked it, and obviously, as we can see in the episode, the listeners within this universe liked it as well. We can see already a big sort of reception, a big, basically having a large amount of discussion here. And the thing that's funny to me here is that the listeners here, they might only know that this is some interesting news segment that's going to take the airtime now. They don't even know that it's ad-libbed, right? They might think that this is literally Minare reading from an entire script, right? The entire story of the script. If they were to know that it was entirely ad-libbed, they would absolutely be as impressed as I am right now. So I can only say that things can only go up from here. Another interesting thing to note, although I'm not really sure if this is relevant or not, is that the title was actually already decided by Mato, because later on when he showed the CD to Chishiro, it was already titled, basically, Wave Listen to Me, right? Although actually, did he already say that? Oh, actually, now I think of it, I think he already mentioned the title in the last episode or the episode prior to, right? Okay. So I guess that's not exactly a big thing here, but basically that happened. By the way, in case there's any of you guys who don't aren't as well versed in sort of the Japanese culture, Japanese netizens, if you will, and how they do things. So the sort of forum topics or threads that Mata was talking about, where he was saying, I opened a new thread and then I posted the video there and so on and so forth. So I think the easiest way to look at this is to compare it to the Western site 4chan, right? 4chan is pretty infamous. I'm sure that most people here should know about it. 4chan was actually derived from the Japanese concept, which at that time was called 2CH. Nowadays, I think it's rebranded. It's called 5CH now, and I'm not really sure if in this day and age it's still as popular as it was before. But basically, it's an anonymous posting. I can't really even say forum. It's sort of like a bulletin board system where everybody is anonymous, and then you can just literally open a topic, which is called a thread there, and then people can just respond to you, right? It's entirely anonymous, so that's why Mato was able to do it. Basically stirring up the conversation himself, but as we can see, he only needed to sort of just add a little bit of kindling here. Really, the fire is spreading by itself, right? We're getting lots and lots of traction. Things are looking up for her. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where this series is going forward. This is an absolutely fantastic episode, but hopefully it's not going to be the only highlight of this series, right? Hopefully, even in the future episodes, it's going to continue to keep on this quality. So there we go. That's it for episode 5 of Wave Listen to Me. I'll see you guys in the next one, and bye-bye.